and welcome to the class on separating your files before uploading them to Command Explained. So the reason for this class is to make sure that you know how to individually save your documents from your transaction before adding them into the command system to submit them to the brokerage. So there are 3 different ways that you can actually approach this process. So step 1, or the first option, is that you can open up your PDF file. So for example, I need to separate out my buyer representation and my working with a realtor in order to submit this transaction. So what I can do is open up that file into Adobe Acrobat or whatever system you're using, and you're going to see that right now it is saved into 2 different file types. So I need to make sure that I separate them properly. The first thing I want to do, and this will work sometimes and it won't work in other instances. So what I want you to be aware of is, because this has been signed and is done through AuthentiSign, the system may not allow it to work properly. Okay, so this is something you can try, but you might have to use one of the other options. So what I'm going to do is simply go to File, and I'm going to go to Print. And I know my confirmation of cooperation is 2 pages. So what I'm going to do is tell the system that I want to print those 2 pages as a separate PDF. So the first step to do that is to come up here to the top where it says printer type. And I'm going to drop this down and I'm going to select Adobe PDF. Okay, that's the printer type I want. Now I'm going to make sure that my pages are selected, the ones I want in order to separate the confirmation of cooperation. So I'm going to click here on the pages option, and I'm going to narrow that down to pages 1 and 2. And what you're going to notice is that those pages down here will now become the only 2 that you'll see, because that's the entire file. Now, I don't care about shrinking the overhead size. I just want it to make sure that it fits, which it does. I can see that. And the next thing I'm going to do is select Print. If this works, it'll pop up a box that will allow you to then save that file onto your computer as a PDF. So you can save it directly into the folder that you've created for this transaction specifically, okay? And I'm going to save this as the confirmation of cooperation, because that's the document that I've separated out. And now I'm just going to simply make sure it's in the right folder, and I'm going to hit save. In some of these instances, because of the fact that it does have a security lock on it, it might kind of start to go through the process and then not work. So in that case, you're going to have to do a different method. But in this case, it actually didn't work. So this is why it says, this is why I'm getting what this looks like. Okay, if you see this, it's because it didn't allow you to do it that way. That's not a problem. We have another way that we can do it. Okay, so what you're going to do, if you see that notice, is you're going to come out and you're going to go to a website called ilovepdf.com. Okay, when you go to this website, you're going to see that there's a bunch of different options, and what we want to do here is select the second option called Split PDF. When I click on Split PDF, it's going to take me through, and I'm going to just see this screen where it says Select a PDF file. So I'm going to click on Select a PDF file, and it's going to take me into my computer. I'm going to go to the folder where the file is that I want to separate. I'm going to select that file, and I'm going to hit Open. And then that is going to upload the file into my system. As you can tell, there are 4 separate pages. There's my working with a realtor, and there's my BRA. Now what I want to do here is split pages by range. And then I want to make sure I have custom range. So the first range I want is from page 1 to 2. And then the second range I want is going to be from page 3 to 4, right? And then what I'm going to do is say Split PDF. And what this is going to do is it's going to extract those different pages, and it's going to create the different file documents for them. You're going to see that this folder is going to open up. Don't click on this. This folder down at the bottom is going to open up, and it's a zip file. So what you can do now is open the zip file, and I'm going to see that I have both documents saved here. So what I want to do now is open this file, make sure that it's correct, that extracted properly, and I can see that just by looking at it. Okay. And then I'm going to save it as my working with a realtor. So I'm going to rename it. That's just purely so that I can find it easily later and make sure that I have the right document. So just give it a second to load, and then you'll be able to rename it and save it in that file folder that you created. So I'm going to go back to the folder where all my deal documents are, and I'm going to say working with a realtor, and I'm going to save that file. Okay. Then I'm going to go back to my I Love PDF folder, and I'm going to open the second one, which will be my buyer representation agreement. Make sure that that's all good, and then I'm going to save that one in the same folder as all my other documents, simply as a buyer representation agreement. So this way, when I go to find all my files, they're all individually marked. Okay. Once you've done that and you have them all saved, then you can go back into Command and follow the process to upload the deal, all of the deal paperwork that you need to do for this transaction. Okay. And once you've extracted both of these files and saved them, you can also just close this. And it's just as simple as that. So you could have an entire deal transaction kit from another agent because you've gone back and forth a bunch of times. You can come to this website, simply go to split the PDF, extract, or split the PDF file, and then save your ranges, and then it will export them all onto your computer and you can save them. That's a really simple way to do it, and probably the one I would recommend the most. Now, the third way that you can do this is if you did the paperwork within AuthentiSign. So for example, if you're preparing listing paperwork specifically, or your agency paperwork, buyer rep, working with a realtor, where you're only emailing back and forth between yourself and the client and everything is being signed and initialed within AuthentiSign. Well, if you go into that system and then you open the transaction kit that you've created for that client with the paperwork in it, you'll actually be able to individually download each file onto your computer, each of the individually completed signed files. This only works if the entire document has been signed and sent back and forth through AuthentiSign. So please take that into account. If you've downloaded it from AuthentiSign and sent it to another agent, for example, and then they've signed it and sent it back to you, it's not good. The final copy won't be here. But if, for example, I was to open this Blackthorn Avenue kit, I want to go to my signings and I'm going to select the documents that I want to extract. So this is the most recent signing that I did. And what you're going to see is that when you click on the signing, you're going to get taken into this page that shows everything was completed. And now if I come down here, what I can see here is my separated signed documents. And then I can see final document. So if I open this final document, it shows me the final fully signed form by everybody. And up at the top here, I can see the fully signed document that has been signed by everybody. And up at the top here, I can go view as PDF. And once that loads up, I'll be able to download it and save it onto my computer. So I could also do it that way. If I wanted to, I can just hit download and save it. Or alternatively, if I hit upload, I could upload it directly into Google Drive or Dropbox if that's where I was saving the documents. So that's a third way that you can access the documents, which can save you some time when you've done an entire package, such as like a listing package, and you want to just download all of the fully signed forms instead of having to go in and separate them all from your email. But basically, those are the three options on how you want to separate out your documents before you upload them into Command and send them to the brokerage, because they do have to be saved as individual files. All right. I hope that was helpful and made some sense to you guys, and hope you have a great day.